There's something happening inside Alabama's defense right now, and trust me, nobody saw this coming. Kane Wommack just revealed something massive, but I'm not going to tell you what it is, yet. If Alabama manages to fix this one thing, it could completely change everything we thought we knew about this season. I'm talking about a game-changing shift, something that could take this defense from dangerous to absolutely unstoppable. And today, we're going to break down exactly what Kane said, point by point. And I want to hear from you, Crimson Tide fans. Do you believe that if this adjustment really happens, Alabama can take that giant leap and leave the rest of the SEC behind? Buckle up, because this is gonna be big. Welcome to another episode of Roll Tide Press. Let's get into it. Alabama's defense has been pressuring opposing quarterbacks. There were several plays where the defensive front got there with force, but the play didn't end the way it should have. And it was Kane Wommack himself who admitted this during the press conference.
Honestly, you've got to be able to have guys that can finish, and right now we're not doing that. We're not doing that well enough. I think angles are a huge piece of that. I think closing space on a quarterback is a huge indicator, right, of having success. But right now we're letting quarterbacks, we can flush them out of the pocket, but we're not doing nearly a good enough job of getting the quarterback on the ground. We had 12 TFLs in the game the other day with no sacks. I don't know if that's ever happened, at least in my experience. And so we got to do a better job. I've got to find a way to get the quarterback on the ground in terms of what we're doing schematically, and so I need to help our guys out in that regard.
This statement is shocking. 12 effective pressures, but no finishes. This shows two very clear things. The defense is creating opportunities, but there's one missing detail to turn pressure into results. And according to Kane himself, that detail is what will change everything. It was in this context that Kane Wommack explained what needs to change. See how he positioned himself on this issue.
I thought, this past week, the emphasis that we made with the effort and physicality that we needed to play, relying back on what we call Bama fundamentals, which is effort and finish, hard shoulder tackling, playing with violent hands, and creating takeaways. We took a step in the right direction. I still think our execution is not good enough. We've got to continue to work and push there. We put some things on tape that we're going to have to answer for as the season goes on and continues. We need to stay uncomfortable as a defense. That is my job to make sure that we do that. I think our coaches have coached with a great edge. I think our players are playing with a great edge from a standpoint of the way they prepared this past week, and it showed up on Saturday. But good teams improve, and you do that by moving and operating with purpose, and I think we need to continue to do that. Looking forward to a good opponent in Wisconsin, a team that we played last year. They look very different on offense in terms of some of the things they're doing schematically. Some of their personnel is the same. A number of guys are different, including the quarterback position. And so looking forward to squaring off with them on Saturday. But we've got to have a great week of preparation, and we need to make sure that we keep the focus on our players' ability to maximize their opportunity on Saturday. It always builds to Saturday, and we need to make sure we have a great week for that.
This completely changes the narrative. The problem isn't lack of pressure. Alabama is creating chaos. The issue is turning pressure into real impact. Kane was very clear. If players hit their angles and close the pocket, sacks will come naturally. And when that happens, everything could change for the Crimson Tide. Think about it. Alabama is already dangerous without converting pressures into sacks. Now, imagine this same team finishing plays. Opposing quarterbacks would have less time to think, rival offenses would be forced into desperation mode, and the defense could turn into an unleashed monster.
I thought our players met the standard of effort, physicality, passion that we've established here defensively, and that you have to play the game with defensively. And that's the standard. It's the expectation, and I thought we got them. They used as a point of emphasis. It was the thing that we did not show up well enough in the first game, and our guys did a good job of emphasizing that, and it showed up. But again, that's who we are as a defense. That's who we should be. And so the standard is a standard, and it was met this week when it was not in week one.
And Kane knows it and made the goal crystal clear. This staying uncomfortable isn't just motivational talk, it's a mindset. It means pressure isn't enough. Finishing is mandatory. And if that happens, Alabama can take a massive leap forward.
The entire SEC has already seen what happens when Alabama brings heavy pressure. Even without sex, the Crimson Tide has forced quarterbacks into risky situations, created bad decisions, and completely disrupted offenses. Now imagine a scenario where those same pressures turn into sacks. If the adjustment Kane revealed actually works, no one in the SEC is safe. And this is where I want to hear from you, Crimson Tide Nation. If this defense starts finishing plays and turning pressures into sacks, can Alabama dominate the SEC and climb back to the top of college football? Drop your opinion in the comments, because what Kane revealed could be the turning point of the season.
Wisconsin's defense has been outstanding these first 2 games. I think they're giving up about 30 yards a game on the ground, and I think they've only given up 1 touchdown. What do you see from them schematically and also just what they do well in general?
Well, defensive head coach, there's going to be a little extra emphasis on stopping the run and those type of things. And Coach Fickle does a great job of getting those guys to play hard. So no surprise that matches on film, how the guys run to the football, finish plays, extremely physical at the point of attack. And for me, I saw a group of guys that know what they're doing. Their scheme is clear to them, and they know where to be on the field. So was impressed with just their discipline to be in the right spots.
Hey, Coach, you mentioned Ty's improvement, but for the offense as a whole, how do you feel like you've seen improvement, and what areas do you still want to see growth in?
Well, I thought their biggest step forward was honestly the week of practice they had. I thought that was, I know that's probably not the sexiest thing to say, but they did. They had a good week of practice, and I thought that it really showed. I literally showed them on Sunday that got all the information from our strength staff and physical output. They wear those catapults, and I just showed them, they practice harder. It showed, and I thought that was something that was kind of cool to be able to show them, back it up with a little bit of science. But then, you watch the game tape, and they played inspired. So I hope we keep that up.
Yeah, hey Coach, with playing Austin for a series in the second quarter, I believe that's something you guys did at Fresno with Jake Haener. Just what did that do for Jake then, and what are you maybe hoping it does for Ty now?
Well, it pissed Jake off, but but that's Jake. But it helped. I thought at the time for him, and Ben Ward, who was a really good quarterback. I thought it kind of got him locked into remembering all the things they needed to do and be clean on his preparation and prove that he's the guy, all those kind of things. And a little bit different scenario then, but that certainly was a story that I shared with Ty, and I thought in the right way. Ty handled it the right way and just attacked it and just kind of dug in and focused more on himself, which is the toughest part about playing quarterback, is not letting outside influences, whether it's another quarterback, somebody from outside the program, affect the way you prepare. And I thought Ty was elite at that last week. He just dove into the preparation and did a great job.
Yeah, Ty said after the game he was coached really hard last week and wants to continue to be coached hard. What does that kind of tell you about him?
That's not surprising. I mean, that's something that Ty certainly shared with me as well. And that was something I told him after the first game was, I told you everybody on the team's got to look inward and what we can own. And I thought maybe I wasn't hard enough on Ty, and I didn't harden him enough for the moment of the first week, and I told him I wouldn't make that mistake again.